Hey everybody, the Behemoth here, back in with another video for Heroes of History. Today we're going to be going over the Viking heroes. So we haven't really gone through the Viking heroes in depth yet, but we're going to go through them. We're going to quickly look into the winter event here, see where we're standing. We jumped up to number 1 here, and I'm not too worried about that, but I wanted to get some snowflakes, and I had some extra energy from the season pass that I had never collected, so I collected all of them aside from this last one here. And then I had some additional energy while I was farming some mastery cores in Tesla and whatnot. So we're going to go ahead and jump into some of these Viking heroes. So firstly, we're going to jump into Leif. So Leif Erikson is a manipulator type. He's ranged. His base stats are okay. I mean, nothing crazy that stands out to me. But his ability could definitely be a game changer. For Awaken, he's got an attack boost, a focus increase for that initial charge, HP boost, another attack boost, and then an attack speed boost, which I find very interesting. It's not going to help too much, maybe against those little minions, but I find that to be a more or less, rather less useful Awaken stat. So for his Viking Curse ability, it is a debuff, and at level 25, Leif Erikson curses the closest enemy unit, negating any positive effects they have, reducing their defense by 28.2% of his attack for 6 seconds, and commands all allies to attack them. So this is a very interesting skill, and here's why, because he's really one of the only... I don't know. It doesn't do any damage, obviously. So it's purely a support unit or support type debuff, but it kind of has a built-in taunt. So if you're running, let's say, if you're running against a William Wallace and Leif is attacking him, he would curse him, and it would be like William Wallace has a taunt on him, causing all of your minions and all of your heroes to attack him, while also reducing their defense by a good bit of defense. I think this is a very interesting skill, honestly. It's going to be very interesting to see how he tests out. Off front glance, I believe his skill or ability is currently bugged, and the game developers need to fix that. He kind of works against your own team instead of working for your team right now. So that's why you don't see a lot of talk or anything about him yet. Now, as I've mentioned before, where I think that he would be very useful would be against Julius Caesar. He's going to be Julius Caesar's number 1 counter, in my personal opinion, because negating any positive effects, that includes invincibility. So if you were to save this ability for his invincibility, that would be crucial. If we're looking at Julius Caesar off jump here, his initial charge is at 5.3 seconds. So you really need Leif at Awaken 2 to really find that to be useful. Now, at Awaken 2, it's going to be very interesting, because if his initial charge is not at the exact same time or later, it's going to be useless on that initial charge. So we're really going to have to try and see what that initial charge goes down to now that they've removed the focus details in the info button. So that's going to be a very interesting play, but removing his invincibility and taunt to then give him taunt back with a defense reduction is going to cause Julius Caesar to just basically die off. Now, the other one that I find very interesting for him to go up against would be General Washington. George Washington, rather. So I used to call him that. But George Washington and his Soul Link is going to be very interesting, because he does this for all of his friendly units, right? Everyone is Soul Linked, and they share damage in between them. Now, will Leif's skill just take the Soul Link off of George Washington himself and reduce that defense, causing the rest of his allies to still be Soul Linked, but just not George? Or will he remove the Soul Link entirely? Now, because I mean, I read it as it's negating any positive effects to one unit, right? And so this is really just going to be a hero versus hero type of character in the game. But I'm going to find that to be very useful. I'm very interested to test him out once they fix him. Now, jumping over to Lagertha. Her initial charge is at 6 seconds. Regular charge is at 8 seconds. Her base stats, her attack base stat is actually pretty high. You know, when you're comparing it to Achilles, she has a higher attack stat than Achilles. Higher attack stat than Mulan, than Marie, than really any of these heroes down here. It looks like aside from Ramses, which is kind of ironic. But, and then her HP is also really high. I mean, she has the HP as almost a tank, but her defense is very low. Now she is champion infantry type. Her awakens, she's got an attack, a crit chance, an attack, a crit damage, an attack. So she's very, very heavily going to be used as an attack hero type, obviously. There's not going to be any change in her focus charges. So it's going to be really interesting to see how she plays. At level 40, her ability Thunder Strike kind of goes as follows. So Lagertha becomes lightning itself and strikes the most powerful enemy unit, dealing 1184.24% and gaining 150.99% attack speed for 8 seconds. So if you look, her attack speed is going to be for 8 seconds, and that remains from the jump, right? The only thing that increases is the damage she deals and her attack speed increase. But the 8 seconds stays, which means right when she gets her initial charge off, she's going to have 8 seconds, and then her next charge goes off. So she's going to stay in her mass attack speed for the entirety of the match after her initial pop, unless you encounter somebody like Benjamin Franklin, right? That ability blocker, or a mind control hero, somebody like that would really mess that up, or somebody who has crowd control, a stun, things of that nature. So it's going to be very interesting to see how she plays. I think she's going to be an arena goddess. To be honest, I would probably say that she's going to end up being better than Robin Hood. Hot take. She's going to do more damage than him and really mess up the enemy line, because she stays back in the enemy line instead of jumping back to place like a Leonardo da Vinci, right? So she's going to be very crucial, especially paired up with Ragnar Lothbrok. So Ragnar's defense and HP are very high. He is a commander and heavy infantry type. He's got a defense awaken, a focus regen awaken, a defense awaken, and HP awaken on his last awaken. His ability is Lion of the North, and at level 40, Ragnar teleports towards the furthest enemy, taunting them and all units in a range of 2, burning them for 95% damage, and shielding himself for 1443%. So 1443% of what? We have no idea. It's not really listed on here. I'm not sure. It doesn't really go any farther. So they need to fix that. What is his shield of? No idea. But the percentages of his shield is pretty high. So that's nice. I'm going to imagine base damage or base defense, something along those lines. Considering that's kind of similar to how Minos is set up. With his shield here, it's about his defense, right? He gains his defense as a shield, so I think that would be kind of more along the same lines. And then he also shares that same burn factor that Caesar does. Caesar's at max is at 30%, versus Ragnar's at max is 95%. So I'm definitely going to see we're going to see a little bit more damage out of him compared to Caesar. But I'm very interested to see how his teleport works and his taunt works. So how big is that range of 2? I think him paired up with Lagertha, having her jump out in the back and having him taunt the back, or depending on where he jumps, I think that's going to be very interesting. Because the way that his taunt reads is he's going to taunt the farthest unit. So if you have somebody in the back right and they're the farthest back there, he's going to taunt them, but then he's probably going to come up and taunt the top left, right? Or the front left. So he's going to come back to the tank after his second charge. So I think he's going to be a very, very fun character to have. I'm looking forward to getting him. Hopefully I can snag him. And they're going to be pretty game-changing heroes, especially duos. I think they're going to be a really good duo, and I think that we're going to be seeing a lot more duo-type characters being released in the near future. You know, like Dracula and Abraham Van Helsing matched up together are going to be very solid as well. But having these two as 5 stars pairing up against one or with one another is going to probably be game-changing for Arena, I'd imagine. To throw Benjamin Franklin with them, throw Cleopatra, throw Hot, and you're going to have a pretty solid team. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this overview. Hopefully you guys can snag them on the next Viking run and Allied Culture event. And I will catch you in the next one.